Good afternoon or evening or whatever it is for you. Looks like I may have one viewer at the moment, but one is better than none. So I suppose I'll sit still for just a moment and viewer, if you are still with me, say something in chat. Who are you? Where are you from? I'm going to get some tea here and then I will get started shortly. Just let me know if the audio level is okay for my spoken voice. I learned a lot from the last time that I was streaming, and I'm wearing my in-ears this time instead of playing through my monitors like I like, just to make sure that nothing's bleeding back through my microphone. And if it sounds like I'm just a little bit nasally this evening, it's because I am, but I've got some green tea with honey and lemon. It should do the trick for me. So what I'm planning to do this evening is to go through the tracks that I recorded on my previous live stream where I recorded vocals for a new song from my band Midlife Riot. The song is called All Who Wander, and it is a tale of desert warfare and a bit of an homage, if that's the right word, to our veterans here. So let me put my tea down, and I guess we'll just go ahead and get started. So currently the vocals that I've got have not been comped. I've just got let's see, I did 3 takes of the clean vocals, and it looks like I did a handful of takes for the vocal dubs as well as the harsh vocals. I'll start with just my, well, I'm not going to solo that, did not mean to do that, but I will mute my other vocals and we'll focus on these clean vocals for the time being. And if you're not familiar with comping, the process of comping is taking multiple takes from a performer and selecting the best parts of each performance to make one contiguous, I'm not sure how that word's pronounced, but to create one solid performance from multiple performances. While I'm doing this, if you got any questions or comments, feel free to pop them into chat and I'll do my best to answer them to the best of my ability. In the event that I'm not able to answer, we do have a Discord server where there are several people that are more knowledgeable than myself. Despite me being the starter of that server, I don't claim to be the smartest or the best with Reaper. I just do a handful of tricks and I do those few tricks fairly well. I've been listening to these takes over the past few days and I've got a rough idea of what I'm wanting to do. But let's listen to it today with a fresh set of ears and get started. Once again, if you got any questions, just feel free to throw it into chat and most definitely let me know if these levels are okay. I'll start at the beginning and then we will start to comp this first verse. So let's see what we've got.
How do we escape this hell when the rain of war had stretched the ground like lies that brought us down this path again? Welcome death.
Alright, so right out of the gate, that first take was less than desirable. If memory serves, I think that I preferred my second take. So as you can see over here on the left side, I did this tracking using the new fixed item lanes, and that's a difference between the way that takes are presented. I guess that's the best way to explain it in Reaper. With the traditional take system, when you went to a comping phase, you would actually cut up your source material and make slices across all of them and just select which one was playing. With fixed item lanes, I can create a comp lane above these and my source material stays pristine, but I can choose bits and pieces of whichever I'd like. So given that my preference is, at least best I can recall, is this second take, and actually, let me see if I can maybe reduce a bit of that saturation on there for the time being. That sounded a little bit crunchy, which I'm kind of okay with, but I need it a little bit cleaner for now, just for whatever reason. But anyway, with that said, so with my second lane selected, I can right-click this. And my apologies if you have trouble seeing this. I realize I'm broadcasting from a 4K screen, but when I right-click one of these lanes, there's a comping option in the menu, and I will go to comp into new empty lane, automatically creating comp areas. Now we can hopefully see, let me blow this up a little bit. Maybe that'll help with the visibility, but you can see that it's created a new lane on top of this. It says C1, which is comp 1. I can change the name of this comp lane if I'd like to, but C1 is fine for me. And I've got a little bit of a couple of other takes on there that I want to take off. Now when I'm in this comping mode, this allows me to essentially draw over any of the lanes and replace a part with another section. Just like with working with traditional takes, I can press T or Shift T while I'm on the comp lane, and that will switch me from one take to the next, but I can also do that after slicing. So with the idea that I think the second take is the one that I want to start with, we'll start with that, and just once we find some problems, we'll spot check the other sections and see how they sound. Again, if there's any questions or comments or concerns, feel free to drop those in the chat, and most definitely let me know if their levels seem out of whack to you. We'll start here at the beginning of this first verse.
How do we escape this hell when the rain of war has drenched the ground like lies that brought us down this path again? We welcome death as a friend.
Now, that second, that we welcome death as a friend line, that was a bit shaky, and what I'm looking for is not perfection, but I'm looking for whichever take naturally had the best pitch and also naturally had the best timing. Let's spot check a couple of other sections here, and while I've got this comping mode engaged, which you can engage or disengage that by double-clicking the comp lane header, you can see that that gold block has disappeared around the C1, so now comping mode is no longer enabled. I'll double-click this again to switch back to my comping mode, and I can swipe over this third take to audition that, and you can see that it's drawn it into my comp lane there. Let's take a listen and see how that sounds.
Down this path again. We welcome death as a friend.
Now if I'd like to preview the first take, I can press T while I'm hovering over my comp lane, and as I explained earlier, I can press T or Shift T to change which take I'm actively listening to after I have swiped a section.
That brought us down this path again. We welcome death as a friend.
That one was a little bit flat on the beginning. Let's try the third one again.
We welcome death as a friend. With a stain of red upon your canvas, laid beneath me, countless as the sand.
Now right there, when I said slain, I could hear some crackling in my voice, so I want to try to find that and spot check a different section, or a different take.
On your canvas, laid beneath.
Right there. Let's try the first take. And my, what do you call it? Snapping is disabled because I want to be able to grab my sections without it snapping to the grid. I've got mine set to create crossfades wherever I'm making a cut in my comp, so I can move that crossfade point, and you can see that it follows suit down in the lanes, and it's highlighting each lane to show me which one is active.
On your canvas, laid beneath me, on your canvas, laid beneath me, on your canvas, laid beneath.
Now that one was a little bit flat. I think that my first take was probably the better one there.
Canvas laid beneath me, countless as the sand.
Now let's try another take on this other section. I kind of just like to go back and forth a little bit. For the most part, I'm looking for where there's problem areas, but I do like a little bit of variance in there. And I think that I want to turn off this saturation on my vocal bus. I'm trying to isolate where that excess crunchiness is coming from.
Canvas laid beneath.
And I think it was probably that bus saturation.
Canvas laid beneath. Canvas laid beneath.
Yeah, it's in that saturation there, I'm pretty certain. Let me turn that on one more time.
Canvas laid beneath.
Yeah, that's probably just a bit aggressive there, so I don't mind a little bit on there, but I'm layering saturation from multiple tracks, so
Canvas laid beneath me.
that's much cleaner. So
Upon your canvas laid beneath me, countless as the
Let's try sands on a couple of the other takes.
As the sands, as the sands, as the sands.
Actually, I like the red one better, but let's spot check the other takes in the section preceding that.
Beneath me countless, beneath me countless, slain beneath me countless as the sands. How do we devolve to this?
Now that how do we devolve to this section, typically when I'm singing that, I try to add a little bit of tremolo on the second syllable of devolve, and I didn't hear it in that one, so I want to spot check some of the other sections and see if I did a better job on them.
How do we devolve to? How do we devolve to? How do we devolve to this?
I guess I just didn't do it when I was doing these takes.
How do we devolve to this? How do we devolve to this? There's death in life, there's life in death, there's nothing left, it's meaningless, it's all the same. There's death in life.
Now I want to check each of these phrases and just make sure I've got the best take for each one.
There's death in life, there's death in life, there's death in life, there's death in life.
I like that blue one better because on the word death, it's closer to the correct pitch, naturally.
There's death in life, there's life in death.
Like you can hear on that one when I say there's life, it's a bit flat, which, I mean, some of those are kind of flat on purpose, but I still want to check them.
There's life in death, there's life in death.
That one sounded better.
There's death in life, there's life in death, there's nothing left. There's nothing left, there's nothing left, there's nothing left, there's nothing left, it's meaningless. It's meaningless, it's meaningless.
I think I like that red one, the word meaningless, the last syllable is a bit more staccato, whereas in that first take it's a lot longer. I think I like that third one better.
It's meaningless, it's all the same.
Check those other ones for it's all the same.
It's all the same. It's all the same.
That one was ever so slightly flat. Let's try the third take.
It's all the same.
I feel like the first take, the blue in there, was the one that was most on pitch.
It's all the same.
So I would say that that first comp is probably done. Let's go back and review that first verse in context.
How do we escape this hell when the rain of war has drenched the ground like lies that brought us down this path again? We welcome death as a friend with a stain of red upon your canvas, slain beneath me countless as the sands. How do we devolve to this? There's death in life, there's life in death, there's nothing left, it's meaningless, it's all the same.
Now let's go ahead and finish up this first chorus, and then we'll go back and take a look at using Reatune to add a little bit of correction to my vocals. Definitely butchered never on that first run, so let's try the next take. Excuse me.
It's all the same. The never-ending dialogue. It's all the same.
Oh, that one was hilarious. Let's hear that real quick.
The never-ending.
Okay, that was pretty sad right there. We're not going to use that take.
The same. The never.
I like the first half of Never There, but let me try a different one for the second half.
The never.
That sounded a bit better. I think I lost a little bit of my phrasing when I went into the second half of Never.
The never-ending
I like that yellow take better there because I have a very slight amount of vibrato on that syllable in that particular take. Let's check dialogue on the other takes, and again, you guys are really quiet in chat today, but it looks like there's still some people here. So if you got any questions about what I'm doing, or if you just want to say hi and where you're from, or anything, feel free to drop that in the chat. I definitely would appreciate any likes and whatever else you'd like to do. I don't like the pronunciation in that one. So somewhere between this first and second take. I think I prefer the first take there. Let's try a couple of the other ones there. Without as much conversation. Without as much conversation. Flat on that last part, so let's try painting in one of the other takes. Without as much conversation. Without as much conversation. Without as much conversation. I think I was actually sharp on that one. Let's see. Without as much conversation. I think I like that. I want to nudge that crossfade just a bit. Without as much conversation. We're traveling in formations. Go back and review that phrase for timing in particular. Which, once I'm done with the comp, I can of course slip edit this stuff and we'll tune the vocals a bit as well. We're traveling in formations. Hey Michael, thanks for joining us today. We're traveling in formations. The rising sun. I don't think any of my phrasing on that was perfect. We're traveling in formations. I think the timing on that one is a bit off. Really, it looks like the timing on all of them is just a little bit off, so I'll have to slip edit that a bit after comping. We're traveling in formations. We're traveling in formations. I think I prefer the first half on the first take and then switch to the second take for the second half. We're traveling in formations. The rising sun upon our backs. Let's try another phrase here. Now, a smarter me would have previewed this stuff a bit earlier and placed some take markers on these to kind of give an indication as to which one that I liked better. But I'm just going about this in real time, just kind of as I would, which is just listening and doing it in the moment. The rising sun upon our backs. I dig that take as it is. Let's try the third one. The rising sun upon our backs. The rising sun. The rising sun upon our. Yeah, I think that may work there, a combination of those two. I like the way that I said sun on that second one and the rest of it on the third take. The rising sun upon our backs. We march as kings command. See if I did that any more on pitch in another take. We march as kings command. We march as kings command. That one was flat. Let's go for the third one. We march as kings command. With mission objective, conflicts with prime directive, introspective, traumatic conclusions from every perspective. I liked most of that. We mission objective, conflicts with prime directive. Introspective, directive, introspective, traumatic
This life I live is not my own.
Oh, messed that up. We will not use that take.
This life I live is not my own.
Let's try the others just to see if I add a little bit more flavor on a different take.
I'll retake that one later.
Okay, we're not using that one. Alright, apparently I only got one good take of that. I may have to redo that later.
This life I live is not my own.
This part's a little bit more harsh.
Interesting. I must have redone that on a different take, or on a different track, because it's just not there.
This battlefield becomes my home. We march forsaken and alone.
Let's try the third take there.
We march forsaken and alone. It's all the same. The never-ending dialogue.
I kind of like that one.
The never,
I like that red one better. It's a bit more aggressive.
the never-ending dialogue. We're marching into the light.
Try a couple of others here and see which one of those screams was better.
We're marching into the light.
These are all not bad, but there's something I'm not liking about the beginning of that segment.
We're marching into the light. We're marching into the light.
Definitely like that yellow one better. I cannot wait to add these other vocals in here because I'm kind of hearing them in my head, but this is missing some without the dubs and the harmonies, and I'm really looking forward to getting to the ending.
We're marching into the light. We're traveling.
First note out of the gate there was flat.
We're traveling in formations. The rising sun upon our backs.
Let's try another take there. Don't know if all that'll fit on there. Yeah, I definitely like using the fixed item lanes. A lot of people I've seen have compared it to Playlist, I think it's called in Pro Tools, which I've never used Pro Tools, but it seems pretty intuitive. Now, I have to admit I was against it at first because I didn't understand it. I was going through a lot of the pre-release versions of Reaper where they were still building this, and it just wasn't clicking for me. And about a week before the final release, it finally started making sense to me, and I was happy to be the first one to get out a video about swipe comping with fixed lanes. So, we've got a couple of names in there that I don't recognize. Where are you guys from?
The rising sun upon the rising sun. The rising sun. The rising sun. The rising sun.
Okay, I was flat on all of those, so I'll fix that later.
The rising sun upon our backs. We march as kings command.
Try a couple of other pieces there.
We march as kings command.
Italy. Welcome. Funky Louisiana in Finland. Oh, wait, we got somebody from Memphis? Seriously, Jameson? I'm like 60 miles from you, unless you mean Memphis, Egypt. You're in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm not far from you. Greetings from Jackson.
We march as kings command. Mission objective.
I want to bring in those harsh vocals here just because I like this part.
Mission objective. Conflicts with prime directive. Introspective. Dramatic conclusions from every perspective.
I like that part. Iowa. Cornfields.
Mission objective, conflicts with prime directive.
David Barber there in chat, he is my guitarist. Well, he is one of us. I'm one guitarist and he is the other. David is unfortunately in Nashville for a little bit, but hopefully he'll be back home soon.
Mission objective, conflicts with prime directive. Introspective, dramatic conclusions from every perspective.
I do want to check some of those other takes there and just see if one of the others fits better. That sounded good in context, but I would be a fool to not check because there may be one better.
Mission objective, conflicts with prime directive. Introspective, dramatic conclusions from every perspective.
I'm going to try that without the screams in the background so I can focus and make sure it's clean.
Mission objective, conflicts with prime directive. Introspective, dramatic conclusions from every perspective. From every perspective.
I think I like that shorter one there. Let me hear that with the scream behind it again.
Introspective, dramatic conclusions from every perspective.
Forgive me if I keep looking this way, but that's where my chat is. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, glad I could help, Jameson. I can't claim to remember it, but now you got me curious. What did I say? And for anybody who cares, all the drums on this are natural. There's no samples. I'm not 100% against samples, but those of you who know me know that I'm a little bit of a jerk, and I want to just try to get stuff right at the source as best as possible. I'm not a great singer, though, so that's why I have to go through here and comp stuff and usually do a small amount of tuning. Lean into it. Yep. And really, that's true. Like, you are never going to 100% eliminate bleed, and it is the interplay between the instruments, interplay between the microphones on the drums that make it come alive. I mean, unless you're using samples, you're not going to have isolated hits. And when you listen to a drum set, and even when you're mixing or working with a drum set, it's important, in my opinion, to think of it as one instrument instead of a billion mics. And if you start to treat it like one instrument, it makes a huge difference. I bet it sounded more like a drum set, didn't it? I like that take as it is, but again, I want to check the others. I like the aggression on that red one, though. I think I like the vibrato on this yellow one for that section. Check this last line.
Without as much conversation. Without as much conversation.
I think I want to try splitting that up a little bit. I heard a few things that I liked out of each one. And if you hear tapping, Bell Dog is dancing around on the floor at the moment. She's not feeling too good tonight.
Without as much conversation. Without as much conversation.
I think I like that yellow one.
Without as much conversation.
Try the blue.
Without as much conversation.
Actually, I think I like the blue.
Without as much
and I want to see if I hit the pitch better on much on one of the other takes.
Without as much conversation. Without as much conversation.
Yep, that red one does a lot better.
Without as much conversation.
Now, we'll preview this next section. Just know that it's not comped yet, so whatever happens, we'll fix it later.
This life I take will be my own. This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This battlefield becomes my home. We march forsaken and alone.
Alright, I feel like we got a pretty solid comp on the first track. So what I will do now is go back to my header here and double click C1. That takes me out of comping mode and essentially locks this into place so that no matter what I click down here, you can see that my comp stays as is. And again, the beauty of using the fixed item lanes mixed with swipe comping instead of the traditional takes is each of my source takes are still pristine with no cuts in them whatsoever. Now that at least I think I'm happy with my comp, I can put all this in one lane and not have to see the others. Once I'm done for sure, I can glue this together to make it one item if I'd like, or I can just recolor them all the same. But I'm a fan of having the different colors here just because it helps me to visualize which lane it comes from initially. Thank you, Carlo. Let's take a look at my dub track here. Looks like I only did one take on that, so I guess there's no comping needed there. I think I just did the, what do you call these things, the choruses? Oh, wait a minute, let me double check. Yeah, I only did one take on that.
It's life and death.
I guess that's coming from Vox 2. Yeah, so we can do some comping on Vox 2. There's not a whole lot going on there. We'll do the same thing, and we should be able to make some pretty short work of this. So we'll do the same thing as we did before and comp this into a new empty lane, automatically creating the comp areas. That section at the beginning can go. I want that clean, and it looks like I'm not singing anything. Whoops, I accidentally drew an envelope there that I want to get rid of. It looks like I brought up a piece at the end. I must have done that earlier and forgot about it because I was a little too quiet, but I'm going to trim some of this because I don't want the dead air beforehand. And I'll do the same with this other, even though there's virtually nothing there. Better safe than sorry. So let's take a quick listen to this and see what we got.
As the sands, how do we devolve to this?
Now let's spot check the other one and see how that sounds. And we'll just go through the same process we did with the previous comp.
Sands, how do we devolve to this?
They both sound pretty good, but I like this second take better. There's a slight difference in the spacing on the words and the pitch.
Sands, how do we devolve to this? There's death in life, it's life and death. There's nothing left, it's meaningless, it's all the same.
Now, I had trouble with that section in figuring out what I wanted to do as far as a word there, or as far as a note value there. And I think what I actually want to do is split the comp and not use anything there because I'm already doubling it with that dub track. So we've got the harmonies and then just the dub section until we get to the next part of the chorus.
How do we devolve to this? There's death in life, it's life and death. There's nothing left, it's meaningless, it's all the same. Conversation, we're traveling in formations, the rising sun upon our backs.
Now, I think I want to add another section in there now that I'm hearing it, because I could use another harmony there. Can't do it right now, but let's move on. Something like that.
Mission objective, conflicts with prime directive, introspective, dramatic conclusions from every perspective. This life I...
That was weird. Let's see where that's coming from. It's coming from right here. So that can get removed from the comp. And from there. That should be good.
This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own.
What's up, Raptus?
This battlefield becomes my home. We march forsaken and alone. It's all the same. The never-ending dialogue. We're marching into the light. We're traveling in formations. The rising sun upon our backs. We march as kings command. With mission objective, conflicts with prime directive, introspective, dramatic conclusions from every perspective. The never-ending dialogue without as much conversation. This life I live is not my own.
Spot check this part here.
This life I live is not my own.
I like that one better.
This life I take will be my own. This life I take will be my own.
I hate being that guy, but if you are enjoying the content and all that stuff, please hit that like button and do whatever the people on other more popular socials tell you to do.
This life I take will be my own. This life I live is not my own. This life.
Oh, I think that was on... Pretty sure that was on my harsh vocals track where I kind of came in doing a harmony. I'm not sure if I did that more than once though, so now I gotta go find it. It looks like I probably did.
Wrong line.
Nope. Okay, so I will go ahead and start a comp there just because it's driving me a little bit batty hearing myself say something stupid. So let's try that.
This life I live is not my own.
I gotta say, I love that dissonance between the guitars on that part.
This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This life I live is not my own.
Okay, we'll go back and comp the screams a bit later. I think I'm good with the comp on the second vocal track. So let's collapse these and go back to our first vocal track, and we'll start to tune up these vocals a bit. So I know a lot of people use a lot of different vocal tuning programs. I've got Crispy Tuner, I've tried a few others, And I end up going back to reattune, and reattune I feel is fine so long as, and here's the caveat, your vocalist is not a total hot mess. If it's way out of whack, reattune is not the one for you, but if your vocalist is pretty close, reattune does a great job. So I put that as the first thing in my chain after I've done my comping, and I'll go here to the correction section. I don't want to turn on automatic pitch correction, and I'm not even going to adjust the key, because if I'm honest, I don't know what key I wrote this song in. Because I'm not classically trained. Anyway, I'll uncheck stereo correction because my vocal is a mono track, and I'll reduce my attack time to about 100 milliseconds, and I'll start with the default algorithm, which is Elastique 3.3.3 Soloist, and I won't bother changing that unless I have a problem. Next, I'll go to the manual correction tab, and I'll engage manual correction as well as track pitch, and I'll make this a bit bigger. Admittedly, this can be a bit difficult to see, so it'll take me a little while to zoom in and out of things and figure out what's what. So let's start here at the beginning and see if we can get zoomed in a bit. Always have to remember which direction to move stuff. That direction, apparently. Down a little bit, and I want it to get taller, but I cannot find the correct key press. Okay, I guess that's it there, but I just have to scroll back up. I wish that stayed centered, but it doesn't. So essentially these red lines are going to show you, hopefully you can see this, but these red lines are approximately where the notes are, and I'll simply draw in where I'd like it to be.
How do we escape?
And again, since I don't necessarily know what notes I'm hitting, I'm just using a combination of what I can see in Reaper, in Reattune, and intuition.
How do we escape this hell?
And that sounds relatively transparent to me because I'm not doing a lot. You can see that I'm not very far off the note. And if I go back to this correction, I can see what it's doing.
How do we escape this hell?
So a few cents off of each one.
How do we escape this hell? When the rain of one.
Now rain was flat, for sure.
When the rain of war.
I'm not sure where that's supposed to be. That should be a G. So I missed it by a little bit.
When the rain of war adds.
So I'm just drawing these in to help with those pitches.
When the rain of war had stretched the ground like. When the rain of war had stretched the ground like lies that brought.
A little flat there.
When the rain of war had stretched the ground like lies that brought us down. When the rain of war had stretched the ground like lies that brought us down. When the rain of war had stretched the ground like lies that brought us down this path again.
Overall, not bad. I mean, it's not needing a lot of correction, but I don't mind a little bit of help for stability on the longer notes.
When the rain of war had.
Ooh, glitch.
When the rain of war.
I don't think that existed before, but I'm going to back off this node just a little bit.
When the rain of war had stretched the ground like lies that brought us down this path again. We welcome death as a friend.
I think I'm a little sharp there.
We welcome death as a friend.
Yeah, that is noticeably better there.
We welcome death as a. We welcome death as a. We welcome death as a.
I think I like that better naturally, so I'm going to remove the correction there.
We welcome death as a friend. With a stain of red.
This part's probably a bit painful for you guys to watch, but I mean, this is what goes into production.
With a stain of red upon your can.
And now that I've been through a few of these, I can kind of guesstimate where I'm supposed to be.
With a stain of red upon your canvas slain beneath me, countless as the sands.
Yeah, Reatune doesn't have a lot of the fancier tools that some of the paid products do. Like, I like a lot of the stuff that Crispy Tuner has, but I hate the fact that it doesn't sync to my transport. Like, you can see as I'm clicking around in Reatune, you may be able to see the playhead up top going back and forth, and the ability to not have to manually click between the two interfaces is a little bit more important to me. And as far as the singing goes, I'll do as many takes as I need to get it as close to accurate as possible, as opposed to accepting a completely trash performance and expecting to fix it in post.
Upon your canvas slain,
Oh, did I hear a sour note there?
stain of red upon your canvas slain beneath me, countless as the sands. How do we devolve to this?
That sounded beautiful right there with that harmony. I'm guessing at that note.
Sands. How do we devolve to this? There's death in life.
Let's get these long runs here.
There's death in life. It's life and death. There's nothing left. There's death in life. It's life and death. There's nothing left. It's meaningless.
Ever so slightly flat there.
There's nothing left. It's meaningless. It's all the same.
Yeah, Jameson, it takes a it takes a lot of guts to tune your own vocals publicly. Gilman, welcome. And I just want to publicly say, Gilman, I know you're not in Florida. There, I finally got it right.
Nothing left. It's meaningless. It's all the same.
Whoops.
Nothing left. It's meaningless. It's all the same. The love around.
And right there where there's a bit of a dip, that is likely where I got a bit of distortion in my voice, so I want to skip over that and avoid that being corrected.
The love around. The love around. The love around dialogue.
Sounding pretty good. I mean, it's, like I said, this is very gentle correction, so.
The love around dialogue without as much conversation.
Hit that part a little bit. I can see the notes.
Without as much. Without as much conversation. Without as much conversation. Without as much conversation.
Is that right? Should that be a D? Yeah, I think that should be a D and not a C. Or not a D sharp, rather.
Without as much conversation.
Yeah, I think that should be a D. That's an E for sure. My apologies for whistling into the microphone.
Without as much conversation.
And then I descended to a D sharp there for sure.
Without as much conversation. We're traveling in.
So yeah, I'm not properly trained, but at least know my pitches on the guitar, so I can kind of try to whistle along to these things and figure out what I'm supposed to be hitting.
We're traveling in formations.
That should be a B to a C.
Traveling in formations. Traveling in formations. The rising.
We're close. Be an F.
Traveling in formations, the rising sun upon our backs.
Now, if you do know your keys, under the correction tab, if you put in what key it is, it will block out the notes that don't fall into that key. But since I don't know my keys very well, I am not doing that. I'm just guessing and just leaving it in chromatic mode.
We're traveling in formations, the rising sun upon our backs. We march as kings.
That should have been a D, but I missed it by like a half step.
We march as kings come.
Now, I am definitely guessing here. I may be wrong, but we'll find out.
We march as kings come.
That worked.
We mission objective. We march as kings command. We mission objective. Conflicts with prime directive.
Interesting.
We mission objective. Conflicts with prime direct.
Yeah, I'm a hair sharp there. It doesn't sound terrible, but still, if I can nudge it just that little bit.
We mission objective. Conflicts with prime directive. Introspective. Introspective. Dramatic. Introspective. Dramatic conclusion.
Now, conclusion was definitely flat.
Introspective. Dramatic conclusions from.
Now, in that case right there, Reatune did a fantastic job. Let's take a listen to the second syllable of conclusion.
Conclusions from. Dramatic conclusions from. Conclusions from.
That was quite flat.
Conclusions from.
And that sounded very natural there.
Dramatic conclusions from every. Conclusions from.
That was very flat there. I think that maybe should have been an A.
Dramatic conclusions from every.
Yeah, that sounded good there.
Dramatic conclusions from every. Dramatic conclusions from every.
Wonder that should be. I don't think I've hit a C sharp at all on this, so I don't know. Let's see what that's supposed to be.
Conclusions from every.
That sounds horrible.
Every conclusions from every. Conclusions from every.
I think I'm just going to remove that and leave it natural.
Conclusions from every perspective. Conclusions from every perspective. Conclusions from every perspective. Conclusions from every perspective. This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This battlefield becomes. This battlefield becomes.
I guess that's supposed to be an F.
This battlefield.
Nope, that's sharp. I guess that's supposed to be an E. And I was sharp when I sang it.
This battlefield becomes my.
That F looks pretty solid.
This battlefield becomes my
home stretch.
It's all the same. The love.
Slightly flat there.
The never ending.
I'd love to see some improvement to the interface for this, just to have something that's easier to see.
The never ending dialogue. We're marching into.
I think I want to help that note right there, but I'll of course leave the scream alone.
We're marching into. We're marching into the light. We're traveling in foam. We're marching into the light. We're traveling in formations. We're traveling. We're traveling into the light.
I don't need to tune that part, I just like hearing it.
Into the light. We're traveling in foam.
Oh, what is this? YouTube is complaining. Audio stream's current bitrate is lower than the recommended bitrate. Interesting. Is the audio sounding okay on your side, guys? I wonder if I made a mistake. I was messing with my OBS, and I hope that I'm not passing garbage audio over the stream. Not quite. I do like that take on it, though, but it's more like we are traveling in formations, as in military formations.
We're traveling. We're traveling in formations. The rising sun.
Yeah, it's weird. YouTube is complaining, but I'll still spot check my audio settings after I'm done with the stream. But as long as it sounds good for you now, we'll keep going.
We're traveling in formations.
I think that's a G.
We're traveling in formations. The rising sun.
The second syllable of rising is definitely flat. I had to kind of keep messing with the zoom factor on this just because of my eyes.
We're traveling in formations. The rising sun upon our.
Shorten that.
Formations. The rising sun upon our.
I think maybe that's supposed to be... No, that's not a D sharp, because there's the D sharp I don't think exists at all in this song. I gotta figure out what key this is in.
Formations. The rising sun upon our backs. The rising sun upon our backs.
Ooh. Let's try shortening that. Let me run an update.
The rising sun upon our backs. The rising sun upon our backs.
I think what was happening there is it looks like I may have had a little bit of distortion in my voice, because you can see a little bit of a signal up here on a B4, except I'm actually on a B3, so I blame my vocal cords. So what I did was I just shortened that line so it doesn't correct the first part of that syllable.
On our backs, we march as kings.
Should be an E.
We march as. We march as kings come.
I was way sharp on that one. Let's try that.
We march as kings command. With mission objective, conflicts with prime directive. It's with mission objective. With mission objective, conflicts with prime directive. With mission objective. objective, conflicts with prime directive, introspective, dramatic, dramatic conclusion.
Thank you, sir or madam.
Dramatic conclusions from
Right there. I think that's supposed to be a C, but I was way sharp on it.
dramatic conclusions from
Yeah, that's much better. And then drop this down to an A, I think.
dramatic conclusions from every
Yeah, that sounds much better.
dramatic conclusions from every perspective. Dramatic conclusions from every perspective.
Almost to the fun part. Pretty quick tuning.
Without as much conversation. Without as much conversation.
Not sure what that's supposed to be.
As much conversation.
Let's try this D.
As much conversation.
Yep, that should have been a D.
As much conversation.
Alright, I feel like we got a pretty good job on that. Let's review from the front.
How do we escape this hell? When the rain of war has drenched the ground like lies that brought us down this path again. We welcome death as ground like lies that. When the rain of war.
I hear a slight glitch in there.
When the rain of war.
And let's reduce that attack a little bit. Hi, Bell Dog. Bell Dog has decided to join us. She is on the floor behind my chair, so I gotta be really still.
When the rain of war has drenched. When the rain of war.
I'm kind of curious to see what would happen if I changed to a different algorithm. I don't really know what they do.
When the rain of war has drenched the ground.
I feel like I'm hearing more artifacts in that one right off the bat. Let's just go back to the one that we were on. X.E.L.O. Now, if you are into making beats or anything MIDI related, he is your man. I suck at that stuff, but he excels at it.
When the rain of war has drenched the ground like lies that brought us down this path again. We welcome death as our friend.
Now, this was not originally on the program, but I'm hearing the spacing of my words in that "we welcome death as a friend" part, and it's a little bit awkward.
We welcome death as.
So let's fix it. get my trusty slip editing mode going. And since I'm working on the comp layer, my original source takes are still exactly as they were.
We welcome death. We welcome death as. We welcome death.
I feel like I can just maybe make a couple of cuts here and slide that. Let's find out.
We welcome death.
That needs to slide, the initial.
We welcome death as a.
That needs to slide.
We welcome death as a friend.
Slide this back a little bit now.
We welcome death as a friend.
Much better.
Match the ground like lies that brought us down this path again. We welcome death as a friend.
So that's such a little thing, but nudging those syllables just a little bit makes that stuff, I don't know, that everything has a better synergy with each other. Everything is in lockstep with each other, and just sounds better.
Match the ground like lies that brought us down this path again. We welcome death as a friend. With a stain of red upon your can.
Oh, Jameson, if you're in Memphis, you are probably no stranger to handcuffs. Those police there are something else.
Match the ground like lies that brought
That was a
us
terrible
down
joke.
this path again. We welcome death as a friend. With a stain of.
Now that's another one right there where I feel like my timing was a bit off. So let's try this here too, that with a stain. And I had a metronome running in my ear, but I think I just didn't have stuff quite as loud as I needed. So I'm expecting a few spots to be a little bit off as I second guess myself during performance.
With a stain of red upon your.
That needs to be nudged a little bit more there.
With a stain of red upon your canvas, laid beneath me, countless as the sands. How do we devolve to this?
Now that's bugging me. That's a little bit off. It's like I'm off just a little bit on each of these phrases. I don't know. Memphis is kind of weird, but I may have to find myself there in the next day or two getting some Ethiopian food and going to the drum shop.
How do we devolve to this? How do we devolve to?
I feel like that needs to be nudged a bit more. I just have to try it and see.
How do we devolve to?
Which I need to mute that harmony track. And I'll slip that again as well.
How do we devolve to this?
Yeah, that feels a bit better, so let me go ahead and slip this part to match it. A smarter me would use MPL's script to just align these, but we're doing it old-fashioned way.
How do we devolve to this?
Look at that, eyeball it. It worked.
How do we devolve to this? There's death in life, there's life in death. There's nothing left, it's meaningless. It's all the same. The never-ending dialogue without as much conversation. We're traveling in formations. The rising.
Let's spot check some vocal placement there. Let's see, middle of the chorus.
We're marching.
Yep, that's the wrong chorus. First chorus.
Without as much conversation, we're traveling in formation.
Yep, that is early. The way that was laying up against the kick was bugging.
We're traveling in formations.
Which means I'll need to also adjust this dub underneath. Oh gosh, yeah, you need to go there, man. That drum shop is absolutely freaking amazing. They have 2 cymbal vaults there that you can play in for days.
We're traveling in formations.
There, I gotta slip that so that syllable lines up.
We're traveling in formations. We're traveling in formations.
I feel like I moved it a little bit too far.
We're traveling in formations, the rising sun upon our backs. We march as kings coming.
Now, Jameson, if you have not done so, your homework assignment for tomorrow is to go to 2600 Poplar Avenue and get you some Ethiopian food.
We march as kings command. With mission objective, conflicts with prime directive, introspective, dramatic conclusions from every perspective. This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This battlefield becomes my home. We march forsaken and alone. It's all the same. The never-ending dialogue. We're marching into the light. We're traveling in full.
Oh no, Blue Nile, I don't know if that's even there anymore. This one's called Abyssinia. I make special trips to Memphis just to eat there and then turn around and come home.
We're traveling in formations.
Same thing there again. I don't know why I keep butchering that line.
We're traveling in formations.
But we know how to fix it. May as well do it on both. And just, oops, need a cut there too.
We're traveling in formations. The rising sun upon our backs. The rising sun. The rising sun. The rising sun upon. The rising sun upon our.
This is nice. You really can't tell that the vocals are tuned unless I hit a glitch somewhere. But I'm trying to catch those as I go.
The rising sun upon our backs. We march as kings command. With mission objective, conflicts with prime directive, introspective, dramatic.
See you, Jason. Thanks for hanging out, man.
From every perspective. The never-ending dialogue without as much conversation. As much conversation.
I think I want to slip edit that syllable forward a little bit.
Without as much conversation. As much conversation. This life I live is not.
Got to bring these room mics up for this one tom hit. It's magical.
This life I take will be my own. This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own.
Okay, so now we need to comp my harsh vocals, which we started on. I mean, everything was fine up until this point, but looks like I did 5 different takes of these screams at the end, and we get to listen to all of them. I'm sorry. Let's try this last one first.
This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own.
I squeaked a little bit on one of those syllables.
This life I take will be my.
Let's try another.
This life I take will be my.
That sounded like I barked.
This life I take will be mine. This life I take will be mine.
Interesting. Yep, you know what? We'll just use that other take and not worry about it.
This life I take will be mine.
Let's try that last syllable and see how they all sound.
Will be mine. Will be mine. Will be mine.
I kind of like the descending tone on that, but I may have to just shift it forward a bit for timing.
Will be mine.
Sound a bit more psychotic in that one.
Will be mine. Will be mine. Will be mine. Will be mine.
I think I like that purple one actually. If I settle on that one, I'll shift it forward in time a bit.
This battlefield becomes my home. This battlefield becomes my home. This battlefield becomes my home. This battlefield becomes my home.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. I think I may bring in a guest vocalist, though, to add some other textures, or I may go back through this and do, like, lower guttural screams instead, just kind of backgrounding it.
This battlefield becomes my home.
But for this one, I kind of like the higher-pitched, more psychotic-sounding thing as opposed to straight-up death metal.
We march forsaken and alone.
Let's try some of these other takes here.
We march forsaken and alone.
Ooh, I like that one.
We march forsaken and alone.
Like that one, too.
We march forsaken and alone.
I think number 3 is winning.
We march forsaken and alone.
I definitely like the lower pitch on the last syllable.
We march forsaken and alone. We march forsaken and alone.
I think I like that one. Let's go back and try this comp and see how we feel.
Dialogue without as much conversation. This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This battlefield becomes my home. We march forsaken and alone.
Yeah, I think I still want to try swapping out B, like in becomes, and I may just have to slip edit a bit.
This battlefield becomes.
Or maybe it was field.
This battlefield becomes my home.
Actually, I think that red one worked fine.
This battlefield becomes my home.
I think I'm okay with the comp, so now we just need to look at slip editing to get these words lined up properly. Just kind of changing my grid so I can visualize this a bit better. This needs to be fairly tight.
This life I live.
Now granted, I do start each syllable a little bit early by holding that first consonant before releasing the word, so I've got to be a little careful with this. I'll try slipping this forward just a couple of milliseconds and see how it feels.
This life I live is not my own.
That little nudge made a tremendous difference to my ear.
This life I live is not my own. This life I take.
I'll try the same with that nudge at a few milliseconds.
This life I take will be my.
Oh, that's where the B was that I needed to get rid of. But maybe I can find it. Find another take that works better there.
This life I take will be my.
Yeah, let's see if we can't get that squeak out of there.
This life I take will be my. This life I take will be my.
Then again, that was early, so if I shift it, it may work out just fine. We'll figure this out.
This life I take will be my. This life I take will be my.
I may end up having to do some silliness here. We're going to figure this out, though.
Will be my. I take will be my. Life I take will be my.
That's so crazy it might work.
This life I take will be my.
I don't like the way that ends. If I can bleed those together. Ah, that may work right there.
Take will be my. Take will be.
Let me know if you feel like that sounds too unnatural.
This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This battlefield.
Okay, so we got some more slip editing to do here, which I think just nudging that section may get it.
This battlefield begins. This battlefield begins. This battlefield becomes my.
It's like early on all of these.
This battlefield becomes my home.
A little bit further of a nudge on that.
This battlefield becomes my home. This battlefield becomes my home.
That could stand a nudge backwards a bit now. Just a hair.
This battlefield becomes my home.
Alright, I'm going to have to do this the old-fashioned way with the nudge key. And let's move it 2 milliseconds to the left.
Becomes my home. This battlefield becomes my home.
2 more milliseconds. Try again.
This battlefield becomes my home.
Now I'm kind of tempted to try another take here.
Becomes my home. Becomes my home. Becomes my home.
Actually, I like that one. That has kind of a DRI vibe to it.
This battlefield becomes my home. Field becomes my home.
I think that'll work. Try that section from the front.
This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This battlefield becomes my home. We march forsaken and alone.
I think I like that comp altogether. Let me run that one more time.
This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This battlefield becomes my home. We march forsaken and alone.
Wow, I think that I accomplished what I set out to do, which was to finish comping these vocals. I will run it through one more time. It's in its entirety, just to spot check for any last minute glitches. And if you guys have any other questions or comments, drop them in the chat. Otherwise, I will be disconnecting in a bit. Oh, let's see. Could you explain a bit about that Infinistrip? What would you like to know? Infinistrip is a plugin from PSP AudioWare, and it's supposed to emulate the 500 series rack gear. You can add various things to it. So, like, you can add, there's I cannot count today. There's 5 different types of preamps you can use. Then there's your filters. You've got Basic Pro and Sidechain. The Sidechain one will feed a compressor, so you can filter what a compressor reacts to. The gate does what it says. I mean, it's just a gate for either, you can completely gate a channel, or you can use it as an expander to lower the volume of a channel if it drops below a certain threshold. I use the expander module a lot on my toms because my first floor tom has a bit of resonance whenever I hit the kick, and I like to use the expander to keep that quiet unless I'm actually hitting the tom. I prefer to not use a gate on my toms because it sounds unnatural to me. So a few different styles of compressor, EQ, limiters, this master control, which I'd never use, and then a de-esser, de-hummer, and a reactive EQ, which is like a dynamic equalizer. Basically, this gives me just about everything that I need to get 90+% of the way there on any given channel. These replicate the same things that you can do with ReaComp, ReaEQ, JS Saturation, and a handful of other plugins, but I like to have everything in one package to where I can get to everything that I need without having to click back and forth between a whole bunch of different plugins. So I like the way that it sounds with the saturation that it adds, but I also like the way that it improves my workflow by putting all of these controls at my fingertips. If that did not exactly answer your question, just feel free to specify a bit more in the comments there, and I will try. Let's see what we got here. That part sounds so creepy. I like it. Okay, you made me stop for a second. I mean, well, you didn't make me, but I wanted to show you something real quick. You guys know I am a big fan of channel strips. Let me see if this is still on sale. Noise Ash has a really nice channel strip plugin, this Prestige Racks. It's currently on sale. I don't know if they've ever actually bumped it up to their list price of $150, but it's on sale now for $29.90, I guess. And it's very similar to PSP InfiniStrip. I love the way that this sounds, and I felt like it had a fast workflow, but I stuck with PSP InfiniStrip primarily because it's zero latency. When I'm streaming, I like to use zero latency plugins, particularly if I'm playing anyway, because it doesn't delay the sound any, or at least not by any perceivable amount. This one does introduce a bit of latency, but if you're not streaming and you're just looking for something that sounds good, that gives you some gives you quick access to most of your controls, this is a good one for you. And I dropped a link in chat. This is not sponsored by them. I just tried it maybe a few months ago, and I really like the way that it sounded. But give that a demo, and if it's something that sounds good to you. Some of the modules that it has a saturation module, a preamp stage. What is this? This looks like a compressor, de-esser. I think that's an EQ. I can't see. Let's just scroll down and look. 5 different EQs, channel strip compressor, vintage analog preamp, a de-esser, reverb, optical compressor, and gate. Basically, it's a channel strip that's, there we go, medley EQ, S4G channel strip compressor, which I guess that's very similar to an SSL G comp. This saturation, which is your preamp module that gives you a bit of drive, and well, saturation as the name would suggest. The de-esser, which is great for vocals as well as for kind of taming harsh cymbals in some respects. There's a delay and reverb, compressor and gate. Anyway, give that a shot and see what you think. Let's go one more pass through this, and if there's no more questions, I'm going to wrap it up because my wife just got home. So let's take a listen.
How do we escape this hell when the rain of war has drenched the ground like lies that brought us down this path again? We welcome death as a friend with a stain of red upon your canvas, slain beneath me, countless as the sands. How do we devolve to this? It's death and life, it's life and death. There's nothing left, it's meaningless. It's all the same. The lava This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This battlefield becomes my home. We march forsaken and alone. It's all the same. The never-ending dialogue. We're marching into the light. We're traveling in formations. The rising sun upon our backs. We march as kings command. With mission objective, conflicts with prime directive, introspective, dramatic conclusions from every perspective. The never-ending dialogue without as much conversation. This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This life I live is not my own. This life I take will be my own. This battlefield becomes my home. We march forsaken and alone.
Well, I think that's about it. Like I said, I accomplished what I set out to do, which was to complete comping those vocals. We got them tuned up pretty good. There may be a few more parts that I want to re-record to get some additional harmonies, and I think that I want to throw some different pitch screams in a few places, but for the most part, that's sounding pretty good, and I'm happy with it. Thank you guys and girls, as always, for coming and hanging out with me this evening, and we'll see you next time. I forgot to do my usual speech. What is it? If you liked... gosh, it's been so long since I've done a proper YouTube video that I've forgotten my own spiel. If you like the content you're seeing, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And you can support the channel further by clicking the Buy Me a Coffee. And this is the part where I would normally do a cut to me holding this cup and saying something like, I like coffee. Super thanks, Patreon, or whatever. Or you can just watch it for free, which is fine too. Watch a few ads or something like that. But thanks again for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.